I remember the day everything started to fall apart. It was a Tuesday morning in early autumn, and the sky was the kind of gray that just made your chest feel heavy before you even stepped outside. I was in the kitchen, staring blankly at the coffee maker while it sputtered out the last drops into my mug. My phone buzzed on the counter. It was a message from my best friend, Amanda. I knew what it was going to say before I even opened it. And I was right. I'm sorry. I can't keep getting involved. I hope you understand. It wasn't the first message like that I had gotten, and it wouldn't be the last. When things go wrong in your life, you quickly realize who's there for the long haul and who's only around when it's convenient. Just a few weeks earlier, I had a life I thought was stable. A husband, 2 beautiful daughters, a steady job, and what I thought was a strong network of friends. That illusion shattered faster than I ever could have imagined. It started with Michael, my husband. We'd been together for 12 years. He was dependable, worked hard, never forgot birthdays or anniversaries. But I should have noticed the small signs. He was working late more often. There were more business trips, more last-minute cancellations of our date nights, more distance between us even when we sat on the same couch. When I confronted him, he didn't lie.
He didn't even try.
He simply looked at me and said, "I think I'm done, Emily. I don't love you like I used to." That was it. No fighting, no crying. He packed a bag and walked out. Just like that, I was a single mother with 2 girls looking up at me like I had all the answers. I didn't. That first week was a blur. My daughters, Sophie and Hannah, were only 7 and 5. Too young to understand why Daddy wasn't coming home. I kept telling them he was away for work, but Hannah caught on quickly. One night, she sat on the floor beside me while I folded laundry and asked, "Mommy, did Daddy stop loving us?" My heart cracked right down the middle. I pulled her into my lap and held her for what felt like hours.
No, baby.
He loves you so much. Grown-ups sometimes just make confusing choices. The friends started drifting soon after. I think it made them uncomfortable, my unraveling. Amanda, my best friend since high school, stopped returning my calls. Sarah, my coworker, who used to bring me coffee every Friday, now barely made eye contact in the office. Even my own sister, Claire, started making excuses not to visit. "I just can't handle your energy right now," she'd said during our last phone call. That one stung the most. But the person who stayed, the person I least expected, was someone I had barely known before all this began. His name was Noah. He lived down the street in the little blue house with the red shutters, the one I used to pass by every morning on my jogs. I knew him only as the quiet guy who always raked his yard with headphones on. I think he worked from home. We'd nodded hello in passing, but that was about it. One day, about 2 weeks after Michael left, I was trying to fix the leaking pipe under the kitchen sink. I had no idea what I was doing. My hair was falling in my face, I was elbow deep in dirty water, and I was crying without realizing it. There was a knock at the back door. I wiped my hands and opened it, fully expecting to see another bill taped to the handle, or maybe the neighborhood kid asking to sell me cookies. But it was Noah. "Hey," he said, awkwardly holding a toolbox. "I noticed you were having some trouble. I'm good with plumbing stuff if you want a hand." I must have looked like a mess. Wet shirt, mascara smudged under my eyes, hair everywhere, but he didn't flinch. I stared at him, unsure of what to say. Finally, I just stepped aside and let him in. He got to work without saying much. He tightened some valves, replaced a washer, and even showed me how to shut off the water properly. It took less than an hour, and the leak was gone. I offered him a cup of coffee as a thank you. He hesitated, then accepted. We sat at the kitchen table, awkwardly sipping from mismatched mugs. He asked me how I was doing, not the polite version, the real version. The kind of question that makes your throat tighten because someone actually wants to know the truth. And I told him everything. I don't know why. Maybe it was because he didn't look at me with pity. Maybe it was because he was the only person who had knocked on my door instead of walking away. After that, Noah started coming by every now and then. Not every day, just enough to notice. He'd mow my lawn without asking. Leave a loaf of banana bread on the porch. Offer to drive me to the store when my car broke down. It wasn't romantic. Not at first. It was just human.
Kind.
And I needed that more than I realized. The girls loved him. He'd bring them chalk for the driveway and teach them how to draw stars and animals. He never overstepped. Never tried to be their dad. He was just there. One rainy afternoon, I had a breakdown in the grocery store. I was in the canned soup aisle, trying to decide between chicken noodle and tomato, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. It felt like the walls were closing in. I left the cart right there and rushed outside, soaked by the rain within seconds. I sat on the curb behind the store, hugging my knees, shaking. I don't remember calling him, but I must have because 10 minutes later, Noah pulled up and wrapped me in his hoodie like I was made of glass. He didn't say anything, just sat beside me until I calmed down. That night, I asked him why he helped me. He shrugged. Because I've been where you are. And I didn't have anyone. That's when I learned about his story. His wife had passed away 4 years ago. Cancer. She was his college sweetheart. He told me about the way she smiled when she brushed her teeth, the way she danced in the kitchen barefoot, the way she made him laugh even when he wanted to cry. He never talked about her much, but when he did, it was like opening a window to a different life. Over the next few months, things didn't magically get better, but they got manageable. With Noah's help, I started sleeping through the night. The girls were laughing again. I found the strength to attend a therapy group where I met other women who had gone through divorces. I learned that healing wasn't a straight path. It twisted and bent, and sometimes doubled back, but it was still movement. One night, just after Sophie's 8th birthday, we were all sitting on the porch watching fireflies. The girls were curled up on a blanket, giggling and pointing at the glowing lights. Noah sat beside me, our arms barely touching. I turned to him and said, "You stayed when everyone else left. Why?" He looked at me, really looked at me, and then said, "Because you never asked me to be anything other than myself. And maybe I needed someone to stay for, too." It wasn't a fairy tale. We didn't kiss under the stars or run into each other's arms in slow motion. But I rested my head on his shoulder that night, and he didn't pull away. He wrapped his arm around me, and we sat in silence, fireflies blinking around us, the sound of my daughter's laughter in the background. Months turned into a year. Then another. Michael remarried a year and a half later. Amanda reached out once, but I never responded. Claire apologized eventually, and we slowly rebuilt our relationship. But the truth is, I had already found what I needed.